بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. So last week we did the first hadith from the second chapter of Shama'il, باب ما جاء في خاتم النبوة صلى الله عليه وسلم, the chapter regarding the seal of prophethood of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. Today inshallah we will move on to the second hadith of this chapter. حدثنا سعيد بن يعقوب الطالقاني أخبرنا أيوب ابن جابر عن سماك بن حرب عن جابر بن سمرة قال رأيت الخاتم بين كتفي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم غدة حمراء مثل بيضة الحمامة. Jabir ibn Samurah radiallahu anhu said, reports that I saw the seal of prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam between his two shoulders, which was like a red tumor protruding flesh, the size of which was like that of a pigeon's egg. There are various and different narrations regarding the size and color of the seal of prophethood of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Qurtubi rahmatullahi has reconciled these by saying that the size changed from time to time, so it didn't remain the same, as did the color, even the color changed. According to this humble servant, the reconciliation may also be possible that in reality all these are similarities, and every similarity is according to a person's understanding. So every person has his own way of understanding things, which is an approximate state. There is no disagreement in explaining approximates. This is a more appropriate explanation. So according to Shaykh Khabbaab Ahmad, who has written this Khasa'il al-Nabawi, he says that this is more appropriate. Moving on to the third hadith, حدثنا أبو مصعب المدني يوسف بن ماجشون عن أبيه عن عاصم بن عمر بن الخطاب عن جدته رميثة قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولو أشاء أن أقبل الخاتم الذي بين كتفيه من قربتي لفعلت يقول لسعد بن معاذ يوم مات اهتز له عرش الرحمن. Subhanallah. Umayyah radiyallahu anha says, I heard this subject from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and at that time I was so near to him that if I wanted I could have kissed the seal of prophethood. Subhanallah. That subject is, what is the subject? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was talking about Sa'd ibn Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, that because of Sa'd's death, the Arsh of Rahman also started to sway in happiness. اهتز له عرش الرحمن. There is a disagreement regarding the swinging of the Arsh. What is the reason of, and what does it mean? What is the reason? And what does it mean? The above translation is in accordance with well-known sayings. Some are of the opinion that this refers to the people of the Arsh. Some are of the opinion that it is like Takht, throne of Sayyidina Sa'd ibn radiallahu anhu, etc. Sayyidina Sa'd ibn Mu'adh radiallahu anhu is from amongst the great Sahaba. In the books of Hadith, many of his merits have been mentioned. Before the Hijrah, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Sayyidina Mus'ab ibn Umar radiallahu anhu to Medina to teach and propagate Islam. Sayyidina Sa'd radiallahu anhu accepted Islam at his hands. He was a leader of his community, and as a result, his whole family accepted Islam on the same day. This was the first family in Medina to accept Islam. Subhanallah. He passed away at the age of 37 in the 5th year Hijri. 70,000 malaika angels attended his janazah salah. With all this, it appears that in the hadith that he also went through hardship for a while in the grave. we should all take heed. A person should not be lax in this matter and should always remember Allah, repent and fear the punishment of the grave. Whenever Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu passed the grave, he used to weep till his beard became wet. Someone asked him, Jannah and Jahannam are also discussed, but at that time you do not weep. He replied, I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, the grave is the first stage of the akhirah. Al-qabru awwalu manzilin min manazil al-akhirah. Hereafter, whoever goes through it easily, all the other stages becomes easy, and for whom this stage is difficult, all the other stages become more difficult. May Allah save us. He says, I also heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, of all the scenes of the akhirah that I have seen, the one of the qabr, grave, is the most difficult. May Allah make it easy for one and all. May Allah save us all from it. Imam Tirmidhi rahimahullah did not intend to relate this incident here, but because the seal of prophethood is mentioned, therefore it is included here. Also Sayyidina Rumaytha radiyallahu anha, by mentioning her experience of being near Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and seeing the seal of prophethood, and by hearing this subject, conclusively proves that there remains no place for error. Her mentioning that I was so close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if I wanted to kiss it, just makes the narration which she is about to mention a bit more confident. Subhanallah. Sahaba were amazing, when they used to mention something, they would mention it properly. حدثنا أحمد بن عبيد الضبي وعلي بن حجر وغير واحد قالوا, they say, حدثنا عيسى بن يونس عن عمر بن عبد الله مولى عفرة قال حدثني إبراهيم بن محمد من ولد علي بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه قال كان علي إذا وصف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فذكر الحديث بطوله وقال بين كتفيه خاتم النبوة وهو خاتم النبيين. Ibrahim ibn Muhammad radiallahu anhu, who is the grandson of Ali radiallahu anhu, said, whenever Ali radiallahu anhu used to describe the noble attributes of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to mention the complete hadith. He also used to say that the seal of prophethood was between the two shoulders, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the seal of all prophets, no prophet to come after him, like Allah mentions in the Quran, وَخَاتَمَ النَّبِيِّينَ. He is the final prophet. This hadith has been explained in detail in the first chapter, hadith number 8, which we did. Here it is referred to briefly because of the seal of prophethood. This hadith is mentioned specifically here. That is the reason. Moving on to the next hadith. حدثنا محمد بن بشار حدثنا أبو عاصم حدثنا عزرا بن ثابت قال حدثني الباء بن أحمر البشكري قال حدثني أبو زيد عمر بن أخطب الأنصاري قال قال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أبا زيد أدن مني فأمسح ظهري فسمحت ظهره فوقعت أصابعي على الخاتم قلت وما الخاتم؟ قال شعرات مجتمعات. Ilba ibn al-Yashkari says that the Sahabi Abu Zayd Amr ibn Akhtab al-Ansari radiyallahu anhu said to me, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once asked me to massage his waist. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam asked him to massage his waist. When I began massaging the back, accidentally, by chance, my fingers touched the seal of prophethood. Ilba rahmatullahi says that I asked Umar radiyallahu an, what is the seal of prophethood? He said it was a collection of a few hair. This is not contrary to the first hadith, because there was hair around the seal of prophethood. He only mentioned the hair. He didn't mention the size, or he didn't mention the color or anything. So there is no contradiction. He only mentioned the hair that was around it. That's why he said that it was like a collection of a hair. It was a few hair. So there is no contradiction, like Shaykh Zakaria rahmatullahi mentioned. حدثنا أبو عمار الحسين ابن حريث الخزاعي حدثنا علي بن الحسين بن واقد حدثني عبد الله بن بريدة قال سمعت أبا بريدة يقول سمعت أبي بريدة يقول جاء سلمان فارسي رضي الله عنه إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حين قدم المدينة بمائدة عليها غصب فوضعها بين يدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا سلمان ما هذا؟ قال صدقة عليك وعلى أصحابك. فقال ارفعها فإنا لا نأكل الصدقة. قال فرفعها فجاء الغد بمثله فوضعه بين يدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال ما هذا يا سلمان؟ قال هدية لك. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لأصحابه ابسطوا ثم نظر إلى الخاتم على ظهر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فآمن به وكان لليهود فاشتراه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بكذا وكذا درهما على أن يغرس لهم نخلا فيعمل سلمان فيه حتى تطعم فغرس رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم النخل إلا نخلة واحدة غرسها عمر فحملت النخلة من عامها ولم تحمل النخلة فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما شأن هذه النخلة؟ فقال عمر يا رسول الله أنا غرستها. فنزعها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فغرسها فحملت عن أعامها. Very beautiful hadith. Burayda ibn Hashim radiyallahu anhu reports, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina, Salman Farsi radiyallahu anhu bought a tray which had fresh dates on it. Salman radiyallahu anhu, if you pick up his life, his story is amazing. For 40 years he left everything, even lost his freedom in the process, became a slave just to come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just to locate him, just to be with him. So Salman radiallahu anhu first day he bought with him some fresh dates on it and presented it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who asked, "O Salman, what dates are these?" He replied, "This is sadaqah for you and your companions." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, "We do not eat sadaqah. Remove it from me." The ulama differ. Now this is the Shaykh Zakaria rahmatullahi mentioning this in between. The ulama differ on the opinion as to the meaning of the word we. Some say it is Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, and the plural is used as a mark of respect, like Allah mentions in the Quran, Inna khalaqna al-insan, indeed we have created insan. Others explain that it is the Anbiya, prophets. So he is not only talking about himself, he has included all the prophets. That is why he says we. According to some, it is Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his relatives, for whom it is not permissible to accept zakah. According to this humble servant, Shaykh Zakaria rahmatullahi, he mentioned the third supposition, the third ihtimal is superior, meaning me and my relatives, and more acceptable. Allama Munawi rahmatullahi's criticism of the third explanation is not forceful and weighty. So Allama Munawi rahmatullahi has an alternative opinion, but Shaykh Zakaria rahmatullahi mentions it is not very weighty. Subhanallah. Muhaqqiq ulama. On the next day, this happened again. Salman radiallahu anhu bought a tray of fresh dates, and in reply to the question of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he replied, O Messenger of Allah, it is present for you, gift. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, help yourself. Ubsutu. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself ate from it. Bayjuri explains thus: Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu bringing the dates as in both days in this manner was to investigate and make Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam his master. Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu was an alim, learned of the old days. He lived for 150 years. Subhanallah. According to some, he lived for 300 years. Subhanallah, broke the record. He had seen the signs of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the books of the previous prophets, that he will not accept sadaqah, this was a sign, but shall accept presents and gifts, and the seal of prophethood will be between his two shoulders. After witnessing the first two signs, he then saw the seal of prophethood on the back of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and embraced Islam. At that time, Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu was a slave of a Jew from the tribe of Banu Qurayza. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam purchased him. This is figuratively speaking. The fact is that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made him a mukatab, one who buys one's freedom for an agreed sum. So mukatab means that a slave tells the master that I will pay you so much and then I become free. فَكَاتِبُوهُمْ إِنْ عَلِمْتُمْ فِيهِمْ خَيْرَ. Allah mentions that in the Quran, Surah An-Nur. So that is what happened. And paid many dirham for him to become mukatab, and also agreed that he, Salman radiallahu anhu, should plant for the Jew date palms, the amount of 300 palms. Subhanallah, 300 palms he had to, and until these bear fruit, to tend them, to look after them until they start bearing fruit. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam planted the palms with his Mubarak blessed hands, and it was his mu'jiza miracle that all the palms bore fruit in the same year. So very quickly the palms started giving the fruits. One tree amongst them did not bear fruit. Upon investigating, it was found that Umar radiallahu anhu had planted this tree, and that it was not planted by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam removed this palm and replanted it. Another mu'jiza of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that he planted the palms out of season and they bore fruits the same year. Subhanallah. Miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now moving on to the commentary of Hazrat Shaykh Zakaria rahmatullahi, the ulama have made thorough research on this hadith. For example, when Salman radiallahu anhu was a slave, was his sadaqah and hadiyah gift permissible or not? So he was a slave. Was it also, what was the difference between hadiyah and sadaqah? What's the difference? Due to the discussion being lengthy, it has been omitted to keep the subject short. So inshallah, you can read this in other lessons, because that is beyond the topic of discussion here. That is why Shaykh Zakaria rahmatullahi doesn't want to go into the detail. But inshallah, you can pick up other books, or you can inshallah look at the inshallah other lessons of ulama. Due to the discussion being lengthy, it has been omitted to keep the subject short. From this hadith we learn one of the special habits of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he included the servants and those present in the gifts he received. So he didn't say, I am going to take this away myself. No, he said, everybody help yourself. This was one of the special habits of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are thousands of similar instances mentioned in the ahadith. In this hadith, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also enjoined us to share presents. Those who are present should also be included. According to the muhaddithin, hadith scholars, there is a variation in the words of this hadith, and that this hadith is weak. But according to the subject matter, the incident strengthen it. What type of presents are meant, and what is the meant by those that are sitting together near? These needs an explanation. Mullah Ali Qari rahmatullahi writes that a person brought a present to a pious sheikh of that time. A person sitting in his presence said, presents are shared. The Shaykh replied, we do not make shirk, ascribe partners unto Allah, and believe in one creator. All these presents are for you. Subhanallah. It's a sharing. It's like, shirk. It was just like on a humorous side. The presents were so many that the person could not carry all of them. The Shaykh instructed his servants to deliver it to the person's home. In the same manner, this happened in the assembly of Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi. Imam Abu Yusuf, student of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi. A person presented him a monetary gift. One from among those present said, presents are shared. People sitting around likes to be included. Sharing is caring. The Imam replied that those are special types of presents, and instructed his servants to put away the present. The ulama say that both instances are correct and well balanced. What the pious Sufi did was proper and befitting, and what the faqih jurist did was also proper and befitting. And this is true. Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi was a celebrated and famous Imam. If he did not do as he had done, it might have become a shari'i masla. It would have become that Imam of the Hanafi school of thought had said that presents should be shared, and this would have made it difficult for the Ummah. Shah Waliullah rahmatullahi wrote in one of his kitabs that dreams and glad tidings, many admirable incidents, one of which, that's the book, Dreams and Glad Tidings, that's his book. Many admirable incidents, one of which is of his father. He wrote, in my young days I loved to fast. After seeing all the different opinions of the ulama, I began hesitating to fast. I saw Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in my dream, in which he gave me a loaf of bread. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was also sitting there, and said, presents are shared. I presented the bread to him. This is happening in a dream. And he ate a piece from it. Thereafter Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, presents are shared. I presented the bread to him also, and he took a piece from it. Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu also said, let's move on with the same game. Presents are shared. I then said, if all of you will divide this bread amongst yourselves, what will be left for me? At least leave something for me as well. Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu is from amongst the great Sahaba. It is stated in the hadith that when this ayah was revealed, if you turn away, he will substitute another people instead. وَإِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ, the verse 38 of Surah Muhammad. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum inquired, O Messenger of Allah, who are those people who will take our place? Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then patted Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu on his back and said, I swear by the name of the being in whose hands lie my life, if Iman was suspended on Thuraya Pleiades, the people of Faris would have taken it from there also. The ulama have written that this was a glad tidings in favor of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi. Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu stated in detail how he had accepted Islam, Iman. This is given in the books of Hadith. Therein also mentioned those signs which he investigated. He says that he was a resident in the province of Asbahan at a place called Jay. He further says, my father was a headman and a leader of that place. He loved me very much. I tried very hard at becoming a success in my old religion of Zoroastrian, fire worshipping, Zoroastrianism, and thus became a caretaker of the temple. Once my father sent me on an errand for him. On the way I passed a Christian church. I went inside to see the place and saw the Christian praying there. I liked what I saw there. I was attracted to this religion and remained there till the evening. I inquired from them where their headquarters was. They replied that it was in Sham, Syria. When I returned home in the evening, my family asked where I had been the whole day. I replied to them what had happened. My father said, the religion is not good. Your religion and the religion of your forefathers is the best. I replied, never. That religion, Christianity, is the best. My father feared that I would leave the house and go away to another place. He fastened a chair to my leg and locked me up in the house. I sent a message for the Christians that when the merchants from Sham, who often come to trade, arrive, they should please inform me. When the merchants arrived, they sent a message to me. At the time of their departure, I cut loose the chains, ran away and joined the caravan to Sham. When I reached Sham, I inquired who was the best and the most learned in this religion, Christianity. The people showed me a certain bishop. I went to him and informed him that I would like to become a Christian and stay in his company. He agreed. This is a long incident, but inshallah we'll try to complete it. He agreed. I began living with him, but found him to be dishonest. He persuaded the people to give charity, but whatever he collected he put into his treasure, filling his own pockets. He did not give the poor anything. After he died, another bishop was appointed in his place. He was a pious and better person and did not care for the material things. I began living with him and started to love him. When his end came near, I asked him to whom should I go after his death. He replied that there was only one person in this world following the same path and there was no one else besides him. He said he lives in Mosul and you must go to him. He said only one person who lives in Mosul. After the bishop's death, I went to the person in Mosul and related my story to him. He allowed me to stay in his service. He was a very good person. When his end came near, I asked him that after his death, to whom should I go? He responded that I should go to a person in Nasibain. After his death, I went to that place. I related my story to the bishop there and he kept me in his service. He was a good man. When his end came near, I asked the same question. He replied that I should go to a certain place in Ghamuria. I went to that place and began living with the bishops there. Here I worked and earned some money too. As a result, I owned some cattle and sheep. When his end came near, I asked him, now where should I go? He took an oath and said, there is no learned person anymore who follows our path. The time has come near when the last of all prophets will appear. Subhanallah. Who will follow the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam? He will be born in Arabia. He will migrate to such a place where many dates grow, and on both sides of this place the soil is stony. The prophets will accept gifts but will not eat from sadaqah. The seal of prophethood will be between his two shoulders. This is the sign of prophethood, and for this reason Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu looked for the seal. If you can go to this place, try to do so. After the bishop's death, a few traders from the tribe of Banu Kalb passed there. I said to them, if you take me with you to Arabia, I will give you in return these cattle and sheep. They accepted and brought me to Wadi al-Qura, Makkah Mukarrama. I gave them the cattle and sheep, but they oppressed me. They said I was a slave and sold me. So they said these cattle and sheep are not enough, we need more money. So they actually sold him. They made money out of him as well. Not only took his money, but they also made money out of him. A Jew from the tribe of Banu Qurayza bought me and took me to Medina. I recognized the signs that the bishop of Ghumuriyya had explained to me. I said to myself, this is that place. Subhanallah, how Allah works in amazing ways. Allah took him from one place to A to B, B to C. I lived there till Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated from Makkah Mukarrama to Medina Munawwara. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Quba at that time. When I heard of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whatever I owned, I took with and presented to him, and I said, this is from sadaqah. So whatever he had, little bit of savings, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, this is from sadaqah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself did not partake of it. I said to myself that one sign has been fulfilled, and I returned to Medina and collected a few more things. In the meantime, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to live in Medina, because before he was in Quba. I presented something, dates, food, etc., and said, this is gift. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam partook of this. I said to myself that the second sign has also been fulfilled. Thereafter I once attended his noble assembly. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was at the Baqi attending a Sahabi's funeral, not a graveyard. I greeted him and made an attempt to look at his back. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood what I was doing and lifted his sheet. I saw the seal of prophethood, subhanallah, and in zeal bowed towards it. I kissed it and cried, Allahu Akbar. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, come in front of me. I came before him and related the whole story. After that I continued serving my Jewish master in slavery. When Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, make an agreement with your master to let you become a mukatab, which I mentioned, one who purchases his own freedom. I made an agreement with my master, and he made two conditions. The first was that I should pay 40 uqiyya. Uqiyya, cash in gold. One uqiyya is 40 grams, and a gram is 3 to 4 drams, and masha 3 or 4 grams. So it's a measure. The second condition was that I should plant 300 date palms and tend them till they bear fruit. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam planted the date palms with his own hands, and as is mentioned in the hadith, it happened that some gold arrived from somewhere for Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He gave this to Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu and told him to go and pay it to his master. Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu asked, will this gold be enough, as the amount is too much more? Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, it will not be surprising if Allah fulfills the need with this gold. I took the gold and after weighing it, paid the amount of 40 awqiyah. Subhanallah. Amazing. From this incident, it is evident that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam buying Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu over from slavery meant he paid the money so that Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu could become a mukatab, free person. Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam planted the palm with his own hands and gave the gold that was stipulated in the agreement. Sayyidina Salman radiallahu anhu says, I was the slave of 10 different people. Meaning, 10 people had bought me. In the battle of Khandaq, a trench was dug according to his advice, taking his advice into consideration. Otherwise, there was no knowledge or custom of digging trenches. Subhanallah. What an incident of Salman radiallahu anhu. May Allah grant us the understanding. Inshallah, we will do one more hadith and then inshallah we will continue next week. حدثنا محمد بن بشار قال حدثنا بشر ابن والله قال حدثنا أبو عقيل الدروقي عن أبي نضرة العوفي قال سألت أبا سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه عن خاتم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني خاتم النبوة فقال كان في ظهره بضعة ناشزة. Abi Nadra al-Awfi radiallahu anhu reports that I asked Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu about the seal of prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said it was a piece of raised flesh that was on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam's back. Subhanallah. So there is no difference of opinion. There is no contradiction among these. There is like I mentioned, people show it according, and they try to make similarities according to their own understanding. So there is no contradiction. Now, just to finish this chapter regarding the seal of prophethood, there is only one hadith left. Inshallah, we will finish the chapter and then we will move on to the next chapter next week. حدثنا أحمد بن مقدام أبو الأشعث العجلي البصري أخبرنا حماد بن زيد عن عاصم الأحول عن عبد الله بن السرجس قال أتيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو في ناس من أصحابه فدرت هكذا من خلفه فعرف الذي أريد فألقي الرداء عن ظهره فرأيت موضع الخاتم على كتفيه مثل جمعة حولها خيلان كأنها سآليل فرجعت حتى استقبلته فقلت غفر الله لك يا رسول الله فقال ولك فقال القوم استغفر لك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال نعم ولكم ثم تلا هذه الآية واستغفر لذنبك وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات. Abdullah ibn Sarjis radiallahu anhu says, I came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam whilst there were people sitting in his company. I went around to the back of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The narrator may have done this physically. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood what I was trying to do. He removed the sheet body wrap from his back. I saw the place of the seal of prophethood between his two shoulders. It was like a cluster surrounded by till moles, which appeared to be like a wart. I came before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said to him, may Allah forgive you, or Allah has forgiven you, and is mentioned in Surah Fatah that Allah may forgive you your former and your latter sins. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, may Allah forgive you too. The people said to me that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has made dua for your maghfirah, forgiveness. I replied, yes, and for you too, because Allah Ta'ala says, Allah Ta'ala has said, O Muhammad, seek forgiveness for yourself and the mu'min males, wastaghfir li dhanbik wa lil mu'minin wal mu'minat, and the females also. That is why Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked for the forgiveness of Muslims. Subhanallah. What an amazing incident. The next chapter, inshallah, we'll move on to next week. Babu ma ja'a fi sha'ri Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the chapter regarding the hair of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in that chapter there is 8 ahadith. Inshallah we'll move on to that. May Almighty Allah accept whatever has been read, and may Allah give us true love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah make our life like the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah make our akhlaq like the akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah give us true love for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Rasulina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.